Shady V after dark, where every story leaves its spark. Laugh a little, stay a while. Every episode has its own style. Late night energy, lighten up the night. Shady V after dark, everything feels just right. Turn it up, lock the door. You never know what's waiting in store. Every laugh, every spark. Welcome to Shady V After Dark.
Welcome to Shady V After Dark, the place where the filters come off and the conversations usually start with, "Don't judge me, but..." This is the late night edition of the show where episodes contain strong language and opinions that might make you laugh or cringe. This podcast is intended for adult audiences and may include discussions about relationships, personal experiences, language, or other mature themes. Listener discretion is advised. So dim the lights, settle in, and join us for honest conversations, bold perspectives, and a few surprises along the way. This is Shady V After Dark. Let's get into it.
Hey y'all, tonight's episode is Orgasmic Shift in Perimenopause. It's a real empowering conversation breaking the silence around how hormonal changes impact desire, pleasure, and intimacy. Hey Jovita, how are you tonight?
Yes, I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. I'm so excited to talk about this topic tonight. But before we do that, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thank you again for having me back. So excited. I am Jovita Valley. I'm owner and CEO of La Diva's Intimacy Boutique. I've been in the sexual wellness industry for 21 years, and I help women and couples ages 25 to 70 with sexual wellness issues, challenges, also women in the different menopause stage phases. And I am definitely here to and happy to discuss this very important topic that more and more of my clients are coming to me about. And again, I'm here to help, happy to help. And definitely this is going to be so exciting to discuss tonight.
Yes. Before we get started, we would like to say we are not medical professionals.
That's right.
All of this information is based off of Jovita's knowledge and research. But yeah, we're here to help. So let's get started. Hope you all enjoy this. So Jovita, orgasmic shift. What is the orgasmic shift? I've heard the term, but I've never really asked anybody what it means, because we just sometimes as women we're maybe embarrassed to ask these questions because it's intimate topics, or we don't want to look dumb, right? Like we don't want to ask because we don't want people to say like, how do you not know this? So can you explain to us what the orgasmic shift is?
Yes, definitely. First of all, no one warned you that perimenopause doesn't just change your body. It changes your desire. It changes your confidence and even your ability to feel pleasure. So most women quietly start asking themselves, what's wrong with me? What's going on? What's changing? And the truth is nothing's wrong with you. You've just never been taught how to work with your body in this phase. And that's key, because you don't know what you don't know, but you know something's changed. And the orgasmic shift, it's not about that orgasms disappear. It comes down to how your body gets there and the changes that's happening. The examples of that, your hormones, your estrogen, your testosterone, it's dropping. Okay, that's a big change one alone. The blood flow starts to decrease in your genital area. Of course, that's huge because that is going to interfere and disrupt the libido. Sensitivity changes. Your reduced blood flow, it's causing the clitoris, the vaginal walls to become less responsive to direct touch. So that obviously is a change. And then finally, the mental load. You're getting the brain fog. You're getting the mental load increasing. We are very task-oriented women. We've got a lot of things on our mind. We've got checklists. We've got laundry. We've got kids' homework. We've got a lot of things on our list. And you've got all those external stressors that are on top of that. So mental load increases, and then the desire starts to drop. So
Okay.
that's what the orgasmic shift is.
And so I know, like I said, I've never asked what it was because I didn't want people to look at me like, "What do you mean you don't know what this is? You should know this." And I know a lot of women, in a lot of families, these conversations are taboo, and in a lot of cultures. So you think that's why we don't really talk about orgasmic shifts?
You're exactly right, because a lot of cultures, yes, has a lot to do with that. Because I myself, I'm Catholic, and in my household, there was very little that was discussed of that.
Yeah.
Sex, very little discussed.
Yeah.
About my period, yes, how that was going to happen. But beyond that, no, because my mother, even though I was adopted, my mother only had so much information herself. And that's
Right.
the unfortunate thing. No matter what the generation is, it's the educational and lack of education to then pass on not only the culture aspect, but the generations of lack of information.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, Jovita, what are the most common intimacy struggles that women face during perimenopause?
Yes, I have a lot of my clients that when things starts changing, when I have my parties, my events, even one-on-one discussions, they're telling me, key thing, I don't feel desire anymore. I'm tired. It's not the first thing. It's definitely the last thing on my mind.
Mhm.
It takes forever when we are together. And sometimes it doesn't even happen. I'm not getting the climaxes that I used to have. I am feeling dryness now. It's uncomfortable for me to have sex. And when you start feeling pain, discomfort, your brain automatically is like, oh, that doesn't feel good. So then why do we even need to get into having sex? Because it's not going to feel good. So that is definitely one of, those are major changes and triggers there.
Jovita, we mentioned perimenopause. I know growing up, everybody hears about, oh, the change and menopause, but what is perimenopause?
Perimenopause is when you start to get the symptoms of all the different things I just elaborated on. The hormonal changes, the brain fog.
And that all happens before actual menopause, right?
That's
And
correct.
perimenopause could last a couple of years, right? Or do we?
Yeah, it again, I'm not a physician. Every woman is different, but
Okay.
some women it can start a little earlier, and then 3 years later, yes, menopause could definitely hit 4 years later. And the thing is about what I've researched and what I've learned, there is over, and they're still discovering this, there's over 350 different symptoms related to menopause that
Oh,
they're
wow.
still discovering. Yes. Some women have told me about, the stiff shoulder, more increased neck pain. There's just so many more areas and symptoms. But I'm highlighting today the big factors that's like, okay, this is starting to happen. You need to
Yeah.
pay.
Yeah. Because menopause, growing up, you hear menopause, the mood swings, the hot flashes, the
Yes.
obviously the no more periods, and oh, you're going to start growing facial hair, but that's like all we hear about. We don't hear about the
Mhm.
other stuff. How do hormonal changes actually impact the desire and pleasure?
You know, as far as impacting the desire and pleasure, when you go into those different symptoms and changes, the hormones, estrogen, testosterone, all that, it rapidly shifts the body from an aroused state to more of a relaxed state. And it's going to lower your immediate physical desire to want to do something with your
Okay.
mate. So that's huge. And then when your blood flow decreases, that means the genital area. How we get aroused is think of the penis. When they get aroused, all the blood flow goes to that main eggplant and it's up and standing at attention. Well, guess what? That's the same thing that happens to us. When we're aroused, then the clitoris is filled with blood and it becomes very engorged, enlarged. And around that tissue, your labia, your upper and lower as well. So when that is all filled with blood, then that is going to that's definitely arousal and excitement. But when that's not happening, guess what? Without the engorgement of that blood, the physical sensation of pleasure, it diminishes. And again, that's AKA low libido.
Okay. Why do you think so many women feel like something's wrong with them during perimenopause?
Yeah, I get that question quite a bit. And unfortunately, I have to say that women, the word is broken that comes up a lot. I feel broken. I feel
Mhm.
something's wrong. Unfortunately, society promotes a flawed, non-stop model of arousal. I'll give you an example. TV, movies, and porn. Hello, for those
Yeah.
that watch that, that's very unrealistic. That's the worst because we know that is not realistic. Lack of education is the big factor with that. The physicians are OBGYNs, and from again research, people that I've, different doctors I've been following as well, and podcasts and YouTube and things like that, and books, etc. There's only a small percentage in their teaching education time when they're in medical school that's dedicated to menopause, unfortunately. And I'm learning about that more and more. And so us women have to gather the info more of ourselves, be more prepared when we go to our visits, our gynecological visits, and make sure that our physician is really giving us some great advice on how to proceed and tackle these symptoms that we're having. So, with that being said, you've got society, like I said, TV, lack of education. This is making a woman feel, oh, well, wait a minute. If you see women on TV and movies and porn and all that, they're doing it, they're fine, and they look good. Uh, what's wrong with me? I don't look
Right.
like that. I don't feel like that. So they think that they're not normal. So that's
Yeah. It's like, yeah,
they're
you
comparing themselves.
to unrealistic situations.
And celebrities,
Yes.
we think, oh, hello, they have no problems. Selma Hayek talks about menopause. I love her. I follow her. And I love how she's gone more into it herself about
Yeah.
what she's been dealing with. And you at first think, oh my God, you look so glamorous and beautiful. But hello, she's a woman too.
Yeah. Well, so how does this impact relationships and then in the communication with our partners?
Yes, it's huge because, men, they interpret that as rejection. If they're getting turned down, they're getting subtle hints, they're wanting to, entice their wives, their partners, and they're just getting no or excuses or a headache over and over different things. Women internalize that as failure for themselves. They feel bad. They want to, we want to please our partners. We want to say yes when they're ready. And then, of course, when you don't talk about it, what's going on as the woman to your spouse, to your partner, then that's going to start affecting communication. And then that then changes that, not just a hormone issue, it then becomes a connection issue between both of them.
Okay. What is it that men often misunderstand about this phase in a woman's life?
Unfortunately, because of the lack of education in our society, this unfortunately happens to every woman in different phases and in different ways of their lives. It's something that they can't help but take it personally. If vaginal dryness is happening, they don't want to. They feel pain, they feel discomfort, for example. They're not wanting to. They take it personally. They're not understanding. This is where your physician, your education, and the proper wellness tools all are important and to come into play together. That's going to help you both as a couple to build confidence in each other and sexual exploration to where you can have fun in the bedroom again.
what does stimulate different, not more mean?
Oh, this is huge because more and more I hear this is a myth. Okay, to get more excited and aroused, you just need more foreplay. No, what we need for us going through this phase, perimenopause, menopause, post, all of that, we need a different type of stimulation. That's the key. A different type of stimulation. And I can go more in depth about that
Yeah, I
because
was gonna
that's
say,
on the
because
board.
and it's different for everyone, right? Like what worked for you, what might have stimulated you prior to this phase may not be doing the trick anymore. Would you mind? I mean, what are some
Yeah.
simple ways that women can reconnect with
Yes,
their body?
ma'am. So consistency matters more than speed. Let me explain. Because number one, a woman needs to understand her erogenous zones of her own vulva, clitoris, and think about the 10,000 nerve endings in the clitoris. It's not just there. We have nerve endings all the way from the upper labia down to the lower labia before you even get into the vaginal canal. So you have nerve endings all on the exterior. So when you inform your partner, and not just direct on the clitoris, there's the sides of the clitoris, the top, the lower part. When you are exploring those areas and informing your spouse, your partner, or if you're single as a Pringle, experience with your toy, that's going to be a world of a difference and an eye opener for you, because then you're going to discover, oh, I'm feeling good in these different areas. And when you tell and communicate with your partner these areas, then they start to have fun exploring with you, discovering and knowing what is going to definitely take you to a heightened, more arousal sensation, feeling better, and consistency in those erogenous zones is what's going to make a difference. So that's where consistency, the external stimulation becomes more important. And then when all that's happening, guess what? The mental arousal, the last thing I want to talk about, mental arousal is key for us women now, because you've got a woman that's aroused, blood is engorged, all the right places. You got the on switch happening, and now your body is responding more to where, you know, your mind is totally focused on the moment, what's happening, and not just physical touch alone. It's all those different areas.
That is the first time I've heard the phrase single as a Pringle. I love it. I have never heard that before. I was like, single as a Pringle. I like that.
It is not just about married women and couples. I help single women too. And
Yeah.
I am here for them.
Let's talk about some wellness tools. What type of intimacy wellness products can actually help and why?
Yes, because it is so important, because women need to have that stimulation. They need to have the blood flow going to the proper area there, which there's three different areas I want to talk about that can help. Blood flow enhancers is one. Two is air pulse technology. And three is going to be more of your sensory enhancers. And I'll explain all three. Because foreplay for a woman itself is going to take a while. It ain't going to happen just in 2 minutes. So this is so important why blood flow enhancers is so key. This, as I already talked about, one of the biggest missing pieces is lack of blood flow. This is what we call enhancements. And when you apply an enhancement on the clitoris and also inside the vulva, it's going to bring the blood flow to those areas a lot quicker.
Okay.
And I've got a couple I can recommend. Lubricant is very important that you also use along with that, because we only secrete and so much lubrication, natural lubrication, during and beginning of intercourse. But here's the thing. If you are already dealing with vaginal dryness, you need to be comfortable. You need to have lubricant. And I want to say this to the people in the back. Because you are using lube, that doesn't mean that something's wrong with you. Definitely you need to use lube. Lubricant is going to protect your vaginal tissue wall to where you do not get micro tears, and you do not want micro tears to happen. because I hear women say, "Oh, but I get wet." Okay, you may for that first 4 or 5 minutes of, stimulation and also during sex, but then the body stops producing and you don't
Mhm.
want to have that issue either. So
Um,
that's blood flow enhancers. Go ahead.
what are micro tears?
Micro tears, and thank you for asking. Micro tears can develop from if you're not using lubrication and you have vaginal tissue because it's very thin and sensitive. And as we
Mhm.
get older, the vaginal wall starts, the tissue starts to get even thinner. So when
Okay.
you don't have proper lubrication, then you could have some micro tears that happen with the friction of the penis going in and out of, and even the toy too over time. Because if you're not lubricating your toy,
Right.
going inside the vaginal wall. And here's the thing, you always need to go pee after you have sex. Okay. If you don't know that. And for those of you that do know, great. But if you start to feel a burning sensation after you pee or when you pee, that's a key factor right there. You need to pay attention because that could be micro tears that could start occurring. And
Okay.
you don't want that to get worse because over time that can build up scar tissue. Scar tissue can then interfere with sensitivity in the vaginal wall, and you don't want that.
So your other two products.
Yes, air pulse technology. Now, as far as the blood flow enhancers, I will say the Euphoria Pleasure Serum is amazing for that. It has your peppermint, your L-arginine, and aloe, and that's going to help increase the blood flow. Also, the aloe there is there to help moisturize, but it's there to definitely get the arousal factor going so you get a lot of O's. And then the thing I want to say about the lubricant before I move on to the air pulse is I love, 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 and I have different lubricants on my clickable shop. But just to let you know, the Euphoria water-based lubrication has hyaluronic acid in it. So what's great about that is for women that I have some cancer patients as well. So they have extreme vaginal dryness. This helps and bind over 1,000 times its weight in water, definitely binding the moisture and keeps your tissue plump and comfortable. And that's huge because you need to be comfortable when you are obviously having sex at. And I want to say these products are not about fixing you. They're about supporting your body so it can respond again. So you can feel more like yourself again. Okay. Air pulse technology. Ready to hear this? This
Yeah.
is
What,
exciting.
what is air pulse technology?
Oh, yes, this technology is amazing. A lot of women in this phase, they may struggle with traditional vibration. Some women may not want to have a jackhammer effect on their clitoris, banging, banging, banging. Okay, that could possibly feel too intense or not be effective for them. Air pulse technology is when you have a toy that is basically has like a little opening. It goes over the clitoris and it gives
Mhm.
you a blowing, a sucking, and pulsating vibration of air that is over the clitoris. And it's not directly in contact with your clitoris. That's what makes it so awesome. It's like it's teasing the clitoris, blowing, sucking, puffing, all that going on, little blowing kisses of air, and you can turn up the vibrations and it will get you going with some O's you've never experienced before. So, this is also great for women that have clitoral fatigue. That means when you have something constantly tapping on the clitoris that you really, really don't feel or you're numb or overstimulated, this is perfect for the women that want something, or some women that just want to explore and try
Right.
something different. So I recommend, highly recommend. Oh, it's called the Adventurer, and it gives you all the different air pulse vibrations, and also it has a little tickler on the other end, so you can use that for some nipple stimulation directly on the clitoral if you want, put a little inside the vaginal, tease the taint area for him, just some various plays with that one, or ways of play. And these are USB, by the way. They're
Okay.
definitely not battery. I don't sell any battery operated. They are definitely USB, so that's a plus plus. And then the womanizer blend. This is an amazing toy because it not only gives you all the air pulse that I just talked about features, but it also has a vibe portion to also insert and hit the G spot as well. Because guess what? We also can get G spot orgasms, and that's a beautiful thing as well. So, and I have enhancements for that area. So that just even heightens it even more for the pleasure for the woman. So that's what that is. And the last thing is sensory enhancers. That is your different types of enhancement. That means some women need the arousal factor, but want something subtle to build it up. And then there's some women that want a more intense and immediate sensation, like a warming, a vibration, a cooling. So that's two different spectrums there. So the high of love stimulating oil, highly recommend that for those who want a subtle sensation. It's an oil texture. Take the droplets, put a drop or two on your clitoris, also a drop on or two drops on your finger, and go inside and rub it in your vaginal tissue, even on your outer area of your labia. And it's going to give you that blood flow, bring that to all levels and all those areas at a slower, not slow, but just a nice sensation that starts to build, and you'll start to feel the difference. And then finally, the dual vibe liquid vibrator gel. I get excited talking about this because this is something that is new in my clickable shop. Not only is it giving you a cooling, warming sensation, but you feel like a vibration effect on your tissue and your clitoris. It's amazing. Amazing. So again, last thing I want to emphasize is sometimes it's not about intensity. It's just about awakening those areas so you can have sensation again.
Yeah, you mentioned clitoral overstimulation. Who knew that we could be overstimulated? Who knew that was even a thing? Well, how can women explore these without feeling embarrassed or overwhelmed?
You know, first of all, it is just understanding what you are need. You need to take a step back and understand what you need. Be curious about your body again. Know your erogenous zones. That's important. No pressure for any performance. Just know those areas, because then when you're ready, you can then communicate with your partner, remove any assumptions you might have. And then when you're ready to take that step, you can explore different wellness support tools without shame, because you know it's going to be important to you. It's an investment in your sexual wellness and health. And you want to help with, if you're in a relationship, build that intimate bridge again and excitement. And you don't have to do all three of those at one time. Just take one step at a time. You just need to start somewhere.
So I'm going through perimenopause. I'm probably towards the end of perimenopause and almost going, I'm starting to feel the little hot flashes. What advice would you give to a woman who feels like her desire is gone forever?
Again, you want to write down what your symptoms are. What's the changes that's happening with your body? Because that's going to be key, so you can understand and know what you need to ask your physician about. And then when it comes down to exploring and knowing your body's areas, then you know it's going to be time that you have to invest in something to help bring that blood flow. As we say, pleasure doesn't have an expiration date, but it does require intention, education, and permission. Give yourself permission. You are going to have these changes. You're going to feel different, and it's nothing to be ashamed about at all. And remember, you're not broken. You are evolving.
I love that. We are not broken. We are evolving. What's one mindset shift every woman should have about pleasure after the age of 40?
Yes, exactly what I had mentioned. You've got to know what the changes are, be aware of it with your body, and then you definitely should take that step to explore and try a different type of lubricant. There are different ones in my clickable shop that I even have for the menopausal line itself. that's going to help you have more moisture, because just even vaginal dryness itself, that is a huge thing that women feel. And if they can have that amount of comfort just to get through their day, and that's what I always talk about with that line. Put a pump on your finger, insert it, and you're going to feel comfortable. It's not about having sex. It's about your vaginal dryness and helping that area feel comfortable so you can feel comfortable the rest of your workday, the rest of your day. And then when you're ready to be with your partner, number one, you're feeling more comfortable. Then you're going to want to have sex.
Right.
You can take care, tackle the vaginal dryness first, and then. So it's kind of just understanding what your body's doing, taking that next step to help resolve that, and then you can move forward.
I have a question for you. With your product line, do you have like sample kits? Because obviously the products that you sell are non-returnable because gross. But like if I don't know what I need, like I'm not going to want to spend a whole lot of money on a bunch of different products if I don't know what works.
Right.
Do you offer anything like that?
Appreciate you asking. Well, first of all, when it comes down to if you want to, I am actually, there is sections on my site that you can go to for the products, but I am actually in the process of building a specific category on my site just for menopausal women in those phases. So that way they can go to that section, they can see the proper lubricants. I even have a perimenopausal bundle that I'm going to be dropping. That way, everything will be there that they can go directly to and see their different options. Now, in the description, it does give you some great info. However, happy to assist with any questions, 10-minute consultation calls. If we need to schedule something, I'm happy to do that, because I am here to make sure that women and couples have the right product that's needed. I know we're talking more focused on women today, but it's important because not everybody has the same challenges. Some women might experience some not only discomfort of dryness, but some vaginal pain too. So I've got some great products for that as well to help. So again, here to assist with the challenges a woman may have. That way she's making the right decision and feels good about her purchase. And I do have some certain products that I can also include a sample in their order.
Okay.
Happy to do so as well with that on, what they're needing.
So with that being said, Jovita, where can I and all of my girlfriends out there listening, where can we find your product?
Yes, definitely. I am on basically all the platforms here, but I wanted to leave you with this first. If this conversation resonated with you, anyone out there, just to let you know, I share this kind of education with my clients every day. So don't feel like you can't come to me with any questions. I help women and couples find solutions that actually fit their body. As I mentioned, that's what I'm here for. I'm not here to sell you the highest, latest, and greatest. That's not what I'm about. And that's why I've been in business for so long. And I started my own business because I wanted to continue help educate women and couples on these products and how it can help them. You can find me at my website at www.ladivasintimacyboutique.com. I have a Shopify website, and you can subscribe there too if you'd like to get more wellness information, tips, content. And I've got blogs that are coming very soon as well. I also would like to offer your clients, Veronica, 15% off their order when they use the code ShadyV at checkout. So
awesome. Thank you.
Yes, you're so welcome. You can also follow me on Instagram. And my handle for that is ITS_Ladiva_Jovita, Jovita. That's how my name is spelled. And then my Facebook, my business page is Ladiva's Intimacy Boutique. And then finally on TikTok, my handle is at Ladiva's Intimacy Boutique.
Well, 15%. I think I'm going to go shopping.
Lots of goodies. Lots of goodies there. Yes.
Yeah. Well, Jovita, thank you for your time this evening. And I know we have a couple of episodes that we are going to be pushing out in the future. So I'm looking forward to the next topics and learning more about what you do and how you can help us.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Jovita.
Have a good one. Thanks.
Thanks.
The lights may fade, but the stories stay. Until next time, good night from Shady V after dark.